for coming to visit us. You guys know who it is here, and we are gonna jump straight into the 4 tips and tricks as to what you need to know for when you are house hacking. Now, there's many more things to elaborate on, but to keep things short and sweet, give you the synopsis of the matter. We're only gonna touch on these 4 things for today. But that being said, please feel free to reach out to us to gather any other questions or information that you'd like to get a point on. So, first and foremost, and probably the biggest one that I would say you don't really think about, which is parking, right? A lot of people don't realize this, but if you're gonna have a co-living or you're gonna do a house hacking situation, you want to make sure that you really have enough parking for all the folks who are gonna reside in the home, unless you of course have better location and you have transportation that's right near your property, depending on how you want to go about it. But at the end of the day, having that factor of parking is going to keep everything harmonious in the home and with all the folks who are living there. Second thing we want to touch on, appliances and amenities. What do I mean by that? Having multiple refrigerators is definitely going to help you, right? The last thing you want is not having enough space for all your tenants and they just get upset and mad at one another because they don't have enough space. We are currently doing a live right now, my friend. The other matter on the amenities aspect, it's not necessarily impossible to do it, but if you can, it's always better to have a full bathroom for each room. The more and less cramped and more privacy you can provide to these people who are renting rooms or co-living with one another, the more and less stress, the less stress you will have all around with the tenants and the quality of living, and potentially your odds of increasing rent, right? Because they're going to be so comfortable and good with what they're renting, they're not going to go out to find other options, right? Because you have everything they need. They got their own personal restroom, they got an extra fridge, or let's say you also do take the time to add a gym, right? That's also a great idea too if you have a garage. Because we have to remember, most of these people who are doing the whole co-living situation or renting rooms, or if you're house hacking and wanting tenants to stay long term, they're not necessarily too worried about the idea of having amenities at the house like a pool. They're more concerned about having a place to live that is cheap and allows them to get to work as soon as possible. Majority of the time, it does vary from tenant to tenant. The third thing we want to touch on is the marketing methods that you're going to be utilizing to approach your tenants. You really want to make sure that you're hitting all the websites that you can possible. I would say from my personal experience, the ones that I always utilize are Facebook and PadSplit, not an endorsement, just who I typically use. And of course you want to, it's kind of a given, but I'll say just to make sure we're all on the same page, screen these folks, even though they say that they are who they say they are, or their Facebook page looks amazing and that they're a clean person. You gotta have these test runs, right? In the sense of how you're doing things when you're house hacking and doing the whole co-living situation. And the more tenants you can procure, the better options you have to essentially figure out which one really suits your needs. And if you're doing the house hacking, it's definitely a bit more work on your end if you want to have friendlier tenants or just be able to do things in your way, because it's different when you're not living in the home compared to when you are living in the home, right? So just keeping that on the forefront of your mind. The last thing that is up to you guys, but I personally think it's worth the investment, is cleaning services. These folks are not going to take care of the home the way you would take care of the home. Please do not assume that they will, because they won't. Do yourself a favor and have at least a cleaning service that comes at least once a month. Now, it's up to you how you want to go about it. Me personally, I find more peace of mind that way, and for me as an investor, I don't mind essentially handing off that responsibility to someone else so that I can buy back my time. It's all about how much noise and how much profit you want to make at the end of the day, right? And I don't want to deal with so much noise, so I prefer to have a harmonious house hacking situation than to have something that's not harmonious. That's always a nightmare. In that same sense, there's definitely some more tips and tricks we can touch on. For now, though, that's all we have for you. I don't know if we have any questions at the moment.
We're done.
Phenomenal. Okay. Well, guys, you guys know who to reach out to. Daniel Gonzalez here. Don't forget that eLive Realty is here to help you to and through all your transactions in real estate and just the whole real estate world as a whole, whether it's investing, buying, selling, or renting. We're here to help. You guys take care.